What's going on, you loyal listeners? Thank you for tuning in to the L Squared podcast. I'm your host here, Luke Larson, and joining me today, as per the usual, my lovely and loquacious special guest will be assisting me in leisurely launching you into levity old legs.
How we doing?
Not great.
Great. You seem a little pale. You seem a little sick. I feel like maybe you need to take a trip to the doctor. You know,
To the
time you've been screened for a mysterious blood disease that makes you have to drink blood to stop it. Is
yeah.
that familiar at all?
Well, I had this rare blood disease, and then all of a sudden I've been walking on crutches because
Right.
of it,
Yep.
and I need a blood transfusion every, is it 3 hours?
It's an inconvenient amount of time. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how you get anything done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Podcasts are not, your thing.
I'm planning a trip to the Amazon, to this cave that I've heard about with these kind of cool bats. I'm hoping that one of them will bite me,
Yeah, you're
and
on.
that'll
Wow.
cure it.
This is as always the L Squared podcast, timely. We're nothing if not timely, talking about bat bites in 2022. Yeah, we're doing it. Morbius.
This is the movie that we've talked about for 3 years now, at least. Nonstop. We've been waiting for this movie to come out. And this is not a bit, actually. We've actually been
For me, it's not. For me,
For
it's
you,
not.
it's
I'm not
not.
sure about you.
I'll say I've been
Like
dreading
you
it.
and Chuck, you've indulged me on this.
Yeah.
I'm fully in.
Well, here's the thing that the loyal listeners don't know is that it was such a perfect. This is where Old Legs' life almost is too perfect
Yes.
to not be a joke.
Yes.
Like
I'm
all
living.
day, every day, Old Legs is in the lab working with blood, testing samples, getting plasma. He is Michael Morbius. This is what he does on a daily basis.
Dr. John Michael Morbius.
Morbius. Yeah.
Morb. My boy Morb.
and I think we're pretty public on this podcast about how we feel about Jared Leto. And so it's just perfect that he was cast. And
misunderstood
genius. I feel like we have a pretty good understanding of him, but at this point. But you know what time it is.
Yeah. Before we dive into the movie, I kind of want to add on to that a little bit. And so this crazy thing, we've been talking and basically memeing about this movie for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I start to, because we'll definitely get into kind of the the life that this has taken on, like on the internet.
Yeah.
But it's this crazy thing where it's a little bit similar to like the idea of like the collective like consciousness, where it's like aliens might be real because they like the same idea of an alien has existed like over the course of human history, and it's like
ancient aliens. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's the ancient aliens theory. Mm-hmm. And this is getting kind of ancient aliens. Cause like, I thought that we were like the only three people like joking about this movie, but that is not the case. And people are so excited to not just shit on this movie, but just openly just enjoy its badness.
Yeah.
And definitely given like just how serious this thing wants to be and how serious fucking Jared Leto is at everything, like it's perfect. This is a perfect film. So
Wow.
I just wanted to get that out there because it's like one of those weird things where it's like confirmation of something that like we're in it, man.
Yeah.
Get it.
We made a pact with the rest of the world.
We didn't just find out about Morbius 2 weeks ago, you know?
Yeah.
We're not riding the wave. We've been in it. This is like early Google stock.
Yep.
And
yeah, we were joking about this pre-COVID, guys. Do you remember those days?
Yes.
We've been on this since then. So I know you're all curious as to what the plot synopsis is for this film. So I'm gonna give it to you. Biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead.
Yeah.
That says it all.
Interesting that they went with biochemist there, you know, just right off the bat. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, could have been like any number of things, you know? But I guess, yeah, biochemist, that's like vague enough, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I know a lot of biochemists, so it's like, I get maybe.
Like, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're here. It's Morbius time.
So I'll just get I hated it.
You've been waiting for 8 minutes to say that now.
I have. This was a rough one for me to get through. And the thing is, like, like we said, we've been joking about it for a long time. And this is one where, you know, as this is probably well documented too in the loyal listener fandom. But, you know, I mean, we paid full price to see Jupiter Ascending in theaters, you know, like we'll pay to see these movies and we'll go and but what I want is like some campy, so, you know, bad that it's good. And like, I just had a hard time in getting any kind of enjoyment out of this movie. It was so difficult to just, I mean, maybe, I guess if I saw it with you, it would have been different, but I wasn't the only one in the theater. I was so bummed out that I wasn't the only one. I was like, oh, I have to be the only one here. It's been out for a week, you know, like no one else is going to come see this, but yep, sure enough, I go in, there's a couple people in front of me. I'm like, God damn it. But like, I'm sure we'll get into all this stuff. And not that any of my real complaints matter that much, but it's just, I'm like, I don't get the point of it. Here's my, do you want to know my biggest gripe?
Here's my, oh, this is great. You're in a rare form tonight. I love it.
Is that the thing is, and everybody knows, the loyal listeners know how I am. I know the Morbius character from the comic books. Yeah. Okay. I know it.
You're a real one.
I'm a real one. You know, I knew him from the 94 Spider-Man TV series. I knew him from the comics. I knew Morbius, right? Spider-Man has he and Batman have the best rogues gallery. And Morbius isn't one of Spider-Man's classic villains, but he's a good villain. It's basically vampire. He's fighting a vampire. We all know that. But
is he
Morbius?
Is Morbius a vampire in this movie?
They said he deals with vampirism. It's essentially that. Like, in the comics, what happens is that basically, like, Blade comes in and is hunting Morbius, and Spider-Man's trying to help him right away, and then whatever. So Morbius is essentially a vampire. It's not exactly the same, but like a comic book version of a vampire that's a superhero villain. But that's the thing, is that Michael Morbius set out Dr. Michael Morbius, sorry.
Thank you.
PhD, set out to solve this disease. He thought he was doing the right thing, you know, trying to do this. And then it took over him and turned him into a monster, and he couldn't control it and became a villain, right? That's like a normal thing for Spider-Man villains. But he's a villain. He has never been and would never be a hero. And I hate that Sony apart from their, when they're doing their own thing like this, they did it with Venom too. Venom's a villain. He's not an anti-hero. These guys aren't anti-hero. They're villains. He is not a hero. Why is this story trying to make him a hero? He's not. Like, just okay. If we want to have, we want to make a movie about a villain that's a main character, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that would be cool. But then he's a villain. Just keep him a villain. Why are we trying to make him a hero? I will never like Jared Leto. He'll never be likable. It's 1,000% so much more compelling story if he is a villain. We'll
have to find out in
Morbius 2.
Let there be cinema.
There's so many things I could get into, but that is my main gripe. And then what do they make the villain? They make up a character, who's a childhood friend who essentially has the same thing but he's just evil. Like, yeah, well, that's what Morbius. He's a second Morbius, but that is what Michael Morbius is. Like, why does he want to fight him? That doesn't, none of it makes sense. But like, okay, you cured your rare blood disease and you have these powers too.
I would totally fight you if we both had the Morbius disease.
I'd be so pissed. I would be like, why are you trying to fight me? Like, why are you trying to ruin my life now? You're
a bad guy now.
I know. Well, that's the thing is like, I have a point that I'm going to save for a little bit, but it's just, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, that and everything else was just so dreadfully, painfully drawn out and stupid. And
the movie is like eons long.
It's so long. And like Michael Morbius is a dick. His friend, I don't know. There's so many dumb things. But there you go, loyal listeners. That's my main gripe with it all.
Okay. Can I tell you about the good?
There is none.
The good. Okay, so I saw this movie as well. I think we maybe have to backtrack a little bit to put this into frame.
Yeah.
Because this was an important movie for us on the calendar, even though Luke. This is like, like Dan Carlin, like Hardcore History, like he talks about like important men, you know, like some are really bad.
Okay.
Like Morbius is an important movie.
Like
it's
when
an important movie in history.
Like when Time Magazine made Hitler the most important man of the year because he was.
But same thing, right?
Same thing.
Okay. So we do have to discuss it. And so the backstory of us seeing this movie, I think should be played out a little bit because initially when I texted like, hey, let's do Morbius. And you're already thinking that like I saw it on day one, which I didn't because I was on vacation, but
I assumed that you had seen Morbius day one. I assumed you had seen it a couple times at this point. When you were like, I'm down to Morb. Let's Morb Tuesday night. I thought that meant what we're doing right now.
So I was like, cool, Tuesday night, Morbius. I put it in my iPhone calendar, like, hell yeah, seeing Morbius. Call him up. Luke is he's like, all right, you ready to pod? I was like, wait, what? And so loyal listeners, Luke went out of his way to see Morbius on a Monday night alone.
Yeah, by myself.
And the only downfall to this story is that I could not convince you to see it again. You could have gone from Morbius to Morbii, plural Morbius watches.
That's true.
I mean, that's rare. That's rare club.
Yeah, I don't even know if the director's seen it twice. At this rate,
over 1 trillion worldwide.
It's, I could have been part of that rarefied air, but I chose not to. I'm Barry Sanders retiring. Like, if I'm only playing to get the record, Walter Payton's record, that's not what I'm doing it for,
Right.
And so I went to see it by myself. Loyal listeners, paid full price. Couldn't convince any of my loved ones to go with me, which is fine,
So Morbius works alone.
He works alone. And he drugged me down.
Yeah.
He sucked the life out of me.
So anyway,
because I like vampires too. I do.
I know you do.
I
watched Bram Stoker's Dracula last night.
Great. It's great.
It's an incredible movie, dude.
Great movie. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's wild.
The choice to make Keanu Reeves do a British accent is insane.
There are so many insane things in that movie.
So many insane choices.
Do you feel like that movie is mismarketed? Because like you read it, Bram Stoker's, you think like period piece.
Yeah, it's like Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
But it's like, it's a fucking bonkers batshit movie, like to the max.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah, I get it. You love Dracula. So I went alone as well. I had to fulfill my duty to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a different experience because I was the only one in the theater when I saw it. And I know like personal experience is not as like interesting to people, but this was truly a unique movie experience for me, because when we say that we're like the only one in the theater, that usually doesn't mean like you're the only one in the theater.
It like rarely happens.
Because there's always somebody that comes in 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
But
I think it's happened to me once, maybe twice.
Yeah. I got a solo Morbius experience. And let me tell you, I was at the back of the theater. It was great. I was on socials a lot. I had discovered the Discord channel for Morbius, which is a whole story in itself, where the studio accidentally leaked the Discord link. And so like actual Morbius fans were like bombarded by the troll anti-Morbius internet.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. It's amazing. Like you can log on any time of day, and just like the Morbius lounge is just shit posting constantly. So
wow.
So I had that. I took a phone call. I was like, I did the natural thing where I like looked, and then I was like, I'm the only one in here. And so I just took a phone call and just read at like, normal voice level. Like I should have called you. We should have done the pod.
We should have, yeah.
Right there. Like it'd be like a live watch along. Yeah. But it was incredible. Like to truly be solo is an experience, and to do it with the Discord chat, the Morb heads, hanging out, the Morb heads while you're watching is something else. So I loved it. I had a great time.
Wow.
I can't really tell you what the movie is about.
Yeah.
I got lost real quick trying to follow the science. So I'm not sure like even what the pseudoscience were. Did you like pick up like what the, like they said like DNA and like bad DNA?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I lost it. It was basically just, he has a blood disease that they have to constantly do transfusions for. And so he found these bats and they bit him, and then he was testing their blood because it turned him into a vampire. And then that's it. Like that's as much as they explained it. And then randomly he's grabbing these blue things and drinking them. And then he's like, oh, this artificial blood that I've made doesn't last as long. I'm like, when did you make that? Like, where did those come?
Is that like the Blade blood? that he uses to like suppress himself?
The artificial stuff, I don't know, must be. He it sounded like he made it, but it was like, why do you have a cabinet full of this stuff already? That you're, it's like True Blood from True Blood.
So
that's how much of a vampire fan is. I fucking watched True Blood when it came out.
Hey,
that's a TV show. I watched it when it was new.
I'm a big Bill and Sookie fan. Come on, man. I fuck with it, dude. So hell yeah. So it's funny because when you brought up like that Morbius is a vampire.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll agree, I guess, like he is a vampire, but the film, and I'm sure it's different from the comics, goes so far out of its way to explain Morbius becoming Morbius through science, that it's really jarring when you start like when he has like the book of vampire lore and like a cross, and I'm like, wait, but you were like a science experiment. Like, why would you have all the mortal trappings of like a traditional vampire, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what about what you did to yourself and you altered your DNA would make you like not be able to touch the cross? You know, I was like, so it's just, it was such a like a weird disconnect. Like, but I thought it was funny because it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you change his origin story like that? I can't imagine it's like that in the comics, right?
Right. Like it's basically science-y in the comics. They go even further in the comics where he extracts the plasma from the blood, from the bat DNA, and then puts it in his own, and then at no point do crosses affect him or garlic or that kind of stuff, you know?
Like, okay. Because it was like on the table for like more, he had like thought about it.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's a really funny thing to think about if you're quote unquote as smart as John Michael Morbius is, to like consider that maybe like you could have a reaction to garlic now, you know?
Yeah. So whatever. This one was 47 Ronin-y a little bit, because there are two things from the trailers that were not in the movie. Two of them. And I know because they played this trailer non-fucking stop for the last 6 months.
This one, and now it's been taken over by that bullet train.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is.
Brad Pitt might be in two of the worst movies of the year coming up.
It's unbelievable.
I cannot stand that bullet train. Like,
it's bad.
It's going to be horrible. It's an anime adaptation. So I don't care that Brad Pitt and Aaron Taylor Johnson and Paperboy's in it. Like, that is not going to be good.
No. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
But so we've seen this Morbius trailer a billion times.
I've seen the featurette like
so many.
Multiple times.
So in the movie, when he says, "I am Venom," super funny, right? Well, then in the trailer he says, just kidding, it's your friendly neighborhood Dr. Michael Morbius at your service. That's not in the movie. That did not make the final cut.
So was it Venom?
He said Venom, and then it cut away.
Why did he say Venom? I'm curious. Like,
I don't know. I think because I think Sony thought that Venom was a bigger part of the social lexicon, so they thought that would be really funny, and I'm sure it was really funny for Venom heads out there. But
why is that a joke though? That it's like,
I don't know. See, I don't. That's part is lost on me. I don't know why it's a joke.
Because it's Morbius.
Yeah. See, exactly. Well, but the point is that's the part they kept. They didn't cut that part. They kept that part.
He just leaves it up in the air, and it's like set in a gravelly tone.
Yeah.
I think I was on my phone at the time, and I was like, wait, did he just say that he's Venom?
Yeah, he said, "I am Venom," and he made the scary face, and the guy ran away. But in the trailer, he says like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm your friendly neighborhood Dr. Michael Morbius at your service." And that part they cut. Like, well, just cut the whole scene if you're gonna cut it. Like, why cut it there? Okay, so that's one of them. The other one was they showed.
It also breaks his like killing rule because Morbius is like he can't control Morbius, but just in that moment, like
yeah, he could
he
for a
just
second.
controlled it, and he's just like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna spear this guy. Maybe I won't eat this one.
Yeah, because he had to take over their lair to use their computers. They're like subway robbers that have this underground vault of computers that he needs. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, the second one was in the trailer. He's like getting arrested or at the jail or whatever, and they're arresting Michael Keaton, who played the Vulture in the first Spider-Man, which you didn't see, which is fine.
I was so confused when Michael Keaton came on my screen.
But that part wasn't in it.
That was in the stinger. Right?
It was in the stinger. It didn't make the movie. So that part where he's like, "You should give me a call sometime. I like your work." Like that didn't make the final cut. I'm just interested in these decisions. What was being cut and what wasn't being cut?
No, here's the thing. A lot was cut because this movie was a long like hour 54.
Yeah.
And like there is going to be a full like it's going to be like the thesis edition where you can just pour over like this movie I bet it's the original cut is like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I bet it is. Because there's so much that's open-ended that doesn't add up. Not that it would in a cut-up version anyway, but can I ask you a question while we're on the topic of things that don't make sense? What is his flying? Are you talking about like
special effects? Or like he can actually fly?
I'm talking about the movie logic of him flying. Like he pushes off of
air. He uses like echolocation to
air.
Like hear
how to
jump high.
Because he
uses his ears
to hear. Yeah.
Like the little thingies. I don't know. He uses those. They're like wings.
That's how he flies. Okay.
I thought that was
because there's
obvious.
There's a scene where he's on the rooftop and he's running away from the cops, and a tiny bit of breeze almost pushes him away. And then he stops and gets a gun pointed at him by Tyrese Gibson. And then Tyrese Gibson?
I forgot like what happened to him in the movie. Did he die?
Probably.
Or did he become like a hero of some sort? Did he get like a vat of acid or
I don't know if anything happened to him.
He just kind of left.
He sort of left, yeah. Yeah. And he was really playing it straight. He was really trying for some serious.
Everyone was trying.
Yeah, everyone.
Like Jared set the tone at the top.
Yeah.
He's like, Morbius is going to be like the Dark Knight, the Godfather, and like Lost Boys all melded into one. It's going to be an important film.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's not wrong.
You know what sucks is that Al Madrigal's in it, and I like Al Madrigal. He's the other cop. He's his partner with the mustache.
There's crazy people in this. There's like the guy from Chernobyl and Mad Men. Jared Harris is just
Jared Harris is a great actor.
Is unbelievable like film and theater actor. I thought it was really funny that there was almost like zero like sexual tension in this movie with like anyone or anything. It's basically like just like this like sexless, like godless film that doesn't it's like completely devoid of any emotion, you know?
Yeah.
Between any of the characters.
Yeah.
Like do you think that's like just like a strictly a Jared Leto thing? Like who would you like cast to like opposite of Leto?
Tilda Swinton.
Isn't she already like a Doctor Strange thing?
Yeah.
Something?
Yep.
Well, she can like time jump, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep thinking of like, yeah, who would you cast opposite Jared Leto to have any
Like
kind of
real
such?
chemistry.
I
Has
don't
anyone like ever had chemistry with him?
know.
McConaughey?
Yeah, I was gonna say McConaughey was the
Hairstyle?
only one I could think of. But
Yeah,
McConaughey can have chemistry with anybody.
right.
That's more on McConaughey. Yeah, I know. I can't. Maybe J Lo. That might be a good one. I don't know. He's so like, yeah, no, there isn't one. Plus, he's like what, almost 60. How old is Jared Leto? He's in his 50s, right?
Doctor.
Dr. Michael Morbius, Jared Leto. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, fuck the stupid movie and don't waste your time. But here's a thought that I had.
We're getting Morbius too, right?
No, there's no way. But here's the deal. This is a thought I have. Why? Because I'm like, as you heard my rant, why can't this just be a villain movie? Why can't it be a villain origin story where he's the main character and he has the duality of man, the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing?
Yep.
Like, why can't that be this movie? And I don't know the answer to that, but I was thinking of, why can't this be Brundlefly? Why can't this be Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, where he's a science guy, he's experimenting, he's Icarus, he's
The Fly
pushing
makes sense.
he's pushing the bounds. That's what I'm saying. Why can't this make sense? Why can't it be pushing the bounds of science? He just, his ambition gets the best of him. He gets consumed by it, and that turns him into the villain. That is so much more. But unlike the Brundlefly, I wish this film would have ended with Jared Leto pulling Kurt Cobain instead of Jeff Goldblum. I wish that Michael Morbius would have blew his own head off. I would have liked that ending. I don't even know how it ended. You know why, loyal listeners? I started reading an article on my phone.
So I had a different experience. I ended the movie at like chat level 6 in the Morbius Discord. The more messages you post, the higher level you get. I think at like level 10, you like grow fucking fangs or something like that. And so I was invested, obviously, as a real Morb head, but I missed like the ending of the movie.
Yeah,
like it was like an exit sign because I was staring down at my phone. And at this point, I think the best friend, the Milo character, and they fight like 3 times.
Yeah.
And you realize at like the hour 30, they're like, oh, there's no one else in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's fighting this person. That's the final battle because there's no new characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
No possibility for a new character with 15 minutes left. Although that would be funny. And so I literally I looked up and it was that weird like pink and purple. I don't like, and I was like, are these the Morbius colors? And then it was like Morbius. I was like, oh wow, movie's over. Okay,
dude, same thing happened to me. I mean, I thought I was just deep in this article, but I was looking down and all of a sudden it's like burn Morbius. I'm like, what?
I completely missed the exit. And
Yeah.
so, but then I saw 2 stingers. Is there more than 2 stingers?
At the end credits?
Yeah.
I didn't stay.
There's 2, isn't there?
I didn't stay for them. I don't know.
Oh wow. So you just got up like
I ran out of there. Yeah.
Well, I stayed partly because I was looking for my AirPods. I lost my AirPods. They're Morbius.
Oh shit.
Now. And they're in the. I looked over like each row, and it was only me in there. Like somebody could not have. I have no idea what happened. But anyways, I stayed. So the Michael Keaton part is in the stinger.
Oh, okay.
And it's like he kind of says that, but I don't know who. Like
he was
Birdman.
Yeah, he played the Vulture in the first Spider-Man.
Oh,
Tom Holland
I thought it was like Birdman.
It was kind of both. Yeah.
Okay. He does that, and then there's like another teaser where he's at like a farm and he's like doing better. And then there's like this like thing, it's like a note and it says like 6 or whatever. So is that like a Sinister Six thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Sony
comics, but like
Sony's been trying to make a Sinister Six movie forever, and it's never gonna work because they only make terrible fucking movies.
So who is that? That's like
that is
yet? Like what is the number? That'd be Venom, Morbius,
Morbius,
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Three more? We need 3 more movies.
Well, they tried it with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. So they had the Hobgoblin in that / Green Goblin. They had Electro. They had the Lizard. So that was 3. And then but that's a different universe. So we scrap all those, right?
Yeah.
And so then you had, Venom, Morbius, I guess Carnage, sort of, but he's not really part of it. The original Sinister Six was like Doc Ock, Scorpion, the Rhino, the Vulture. I don't even remember them all, but Shocker, I think.
As kind of like a thesis statement here, this movie like as I'm just like putting you to sleep here.
Yeah, it is.
This movie it feels like a victory lap for me, me being the hater, the non-comic book guy.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal, y'all asked for this. You asked for this, and now this is where we're at. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel for these like tertiary to tertiary characters to try to throw into a story. Like Venom and Morbius are not like big characters, are they? Like in the Spider-Verse?
I mean,
maybe Venom.
No. Maybe Venom. Yeah, maybe Venom. No. But even then, he's always attached to Spider-Man. Like he's never by himself, because he literally gets his powers because the symbiote attached itself to Spider-Man first and then went to Venom. That's how he got the power. So he's always a product of Spider-Man. Yeah, it's never.
You have Spider-Man to thank for this. You have this like.
Who are you saying, you people? Are you saying that to me?
Speaking to you, I'm pointing at you right now. I'm pointing at the comic, the Marvel heads out there. It's like, this is where we're at. And it seems like to me now, since Thanos, we have an issue with the multiverse. Like I sat in that theater and I watched the previews, and now what is it? The last 4 projects are just it's all fucking multiverse stuff, right? You got the Loki show. You got the
Loki show is great.
You got the animated Spider-Verse is Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, the first animated one's great. Yeah, I know.
Mr. Strange is the mysterious multiverse. You have a problem now. It's like you're going to keep getting Morbius
you have a problem.
And multiverses. Into oblivion. It's going to wear you down. You're gonna wish that you never went on this ride.
Don't group me into this.
That
you should be speaking to the
wash your hands
to the group of bat heads that were sitting behind us.
That's you should enjoy my John Michael Morbius. I'm a casual observer. I come in for a little Morbius talk.
And
then I quietly I bow
talk to the bat heads, the bat bros who were sitting behind us at the Batman, spouting off every generic title we've ever seen of any. They had no original thoughts.
Morbius.
Yeah,
they applauded Morbius.
There you go. This is what they created, not me. I like movies. I have taste. I like stories. I don't sit there and just want mindless superhero movies. I want good ones.
Yeah.
And this ain't it, guys. And I hate it. And I hate you a little bit now too.
Thank you. I feel like I've performed my task.
Well, look, this
is like my tears. This is like my tears in rain. Like I can like time to die now.
Yeah,
Like
you did it.
Morbius.
Should we end the pod? Should we retire it now?
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. We're never coming back. We can't come back.
Pod killed it.
Somehow we survived the Snyder cut, but the 4-hour Snyder cut episode.
Yeah.
But we can't. But it couldn't survive this one. Look, you can see Morbius you want to, but it's not even a fun hate watch. Like that's how bad it is. It's not even a good hate watch. It's so boring. Oh,
you should find the Morbius Discord and sit on your phone the whole time. Go. It's one of the most unique experiences I've ever had. I didn't look up from my phone the whole time. See it by yourself. It's probably not going to be hard. See a true like by yourself experience. It's like being in a sensory deprivation tank where it's just you and like the only other stimulus is just the morb.
Yeah. I would actually much rather do that.
Yeah.
Than watch this again in a theater. I'd rather do that. But
you should be able as an option to watch the movie with the chat.
Yeah, now like we're talking.
Where you can interact with, you can be part of the show. You can see your Discord name go up on the screen, you know? Yeah. Like that's how real Morbius fans should be able to observe it. And you know what? I bet it happens at some point. Thinking futuristic.
Yeah. I bet it does too.
I bet we get like a Twitch chat movie.
Yep.
That you're going to be able to actually chat on.
You know,
I mean, it's great. It's
great. When that happens, when we do get a Twitch chat movie, make sure you tune into the L Squared podcast to hear our thoughts on it. You can do that by following me on Twitter at Luke Larson 89. This podcast at L Squared Podcast on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook at L2 Podcast. Hit us up, give us a follow and like on Spotify. Find us anywhere you find your podcast.
We'll be back for Morbius 2. Let there be cinema.